22 years after Ataturk's coup against the Ottoman Empire, the abolition of the caliphate, with a green light from global hegemonic powers, Turkey held its first free elections after World War II. The West believed that Turkey had abandoned its religion and disavowed its nation because the signs of nudity and obscenity spread everywhere suggested this. They believed that Turkey had westernized and turned its back on its nation and its history. As soon as the waters of freedom fell on the land that they thought was dead, Turkey nurtured and grew real men: Adnan Menderes, Galal Bayar, Fateh Rushdie Zorlu, Hasan Bulat Khan, and hundreds of loyal men. Men who seized the opportunity to win by an overwhelming majority in Turkey's second free election. Menderes promised the Turks to restore azan and reteach religion in Arabic, and many other promises. Adnan Menderes swept the 1950 elections, and his Democratic Party won 318 seats, leaving only 32 seats to Ataturk's party. Menderes keeps his promises on the social and religious level. After an absence of 18 years, the azan returned to sound in Arabic. In Arabic, he allowed the teaching of the Holy Quran in schools and mosques. Besides Quran teaching centers, he opened higher religious institutes. It was allowed to hold prayers inside mosques in Arabic. The Quran was allowed to be broadcast on Turkish radio 3 times a week. New mosques in villages and elsewhere were built, and closed mosques were restored. Islamic religious education from the 4th grade returned to schools. Menderes allowed Turkish to travel for Hajj after it had been prohibited. During his term, he abolished state interference in Muslim women's clothing. On the economic level, Menderes created an economic, agricultural, industrial, and social boom. He introduced agricultural technology to the countryside, sending tractors and harvesters to farmers. Fertilizers were distributed to farmers, and agricultural guides had been sent to them. Menderes built many large dams, one in almost every region. Turkey topped in the production of wheat, hazelnuts, dried figs, grapes, cotton, tea, and various types of fruits and vegetables. Many grain stores were established, and all villages were connected with road networks. He established textile factories, fruit juice factories, cement factories, building supplies, shoe factories, leather tanneries, soap factories, and pharmaceutical factories. Unemployment decreased, and the Turkish economy flourished greatly during his presidential term until it was called the Golden Era. He promised the Turks to be rich, and he used to repeat that there would be a Turkish millionaire in every neighborhood. Menderes' party won vast majority in 1950, 1954, and 1957. This is what the world hidden rulers considered crossing red lines. What if Menderes had continued? This was greatly expected if democracy continued. What impact would Turkey have had? Would they leave Turkey to become a superpower again? What could be the impact of this on the far, Middle, and Near East, the permissible pasture for all the thieves of the planet? And could be the impact of this on the spoiled test tube baby living in Palestine? Menderes had to be stopped. In 1960, what happened in Iran in 1953 was repeated in Turkey. A false media campaign and a frenzied smear campaign against Menderes, coinciding with demonstrations by some segments of society. Demonstrations that appear to be spontaneous, but in reality, they were paid and funded crowds. The deception, distortion, and lying reached such a fatal level that the media circulated news stating that Menderes gathered the student demonstrators, chopped them up in a meat grinder, and then threw them on the sides of the road. Here came the role of the junta. An orchestrated coup carried out by army officers at dawn on May 27, 1960. Menderes and his companions were arrested on the same day. 235 generals and 5,000 officers were referred for retirement. 147 university professors and 520 judges were dismissed. Then Menderes and his companions were put on trial. Menderes was charged with 13 ridiculous charges, the most important of which were restricting freedom of the press, violating human rights, overturning the secular system, seeking to establish a religious state, seeking to restore the caliphate, performing Hajj, forming a one-party government, disabling the Turkish constitution. These are the ridiculous charges brought against martyr Prime Minister Ali Adnan Menderes. He was sentenced to death, and the sentence was executed on September 17, 1961. Days later, his foreign minister, Fatih Rushdie Zorlu, and his finance minister, Hasan Bulatakan, were executed, and the three were buried on Imrali Island, south of the Sea of Marmara. President Erdogan said about him and his comrades and about the farcical trial they were subjected to. The May 27th coup was one of the worst days in the history of Turkey, as the state's leaders were exposed at the time to the worst inhuman behavior and violations. It was an illegal trial, a trial of our people, our history, and our nation. And those black lines will not be erased from the foreheads of those who issued the death sentence against Menderes and his colleagues. Turkish Jewish journalist Sami Cohen said, "The direct reason that led Menderes to the gallows was his policy of rapprochement with the Islamic world and the gradual estrangement and coldness in Turkey's relationship with Israel.